welcome to everybody. I can see in the list that you have a huge number of Greek representatives in this meeting, and I would like first to congratulate them for the budget they got for digitization of natural history collection. Then I will start now my presentation. It's about then the CETAF DiSSCo specialization plan. I will share my screen. Then I think you see it now. Then that's the proposed agenda in then 8 points. First, general presentation of the specialization plan. Second point, situation a few days ago about how many institutions already filled the specialization plan. And after more information how to fill the institution form. I think an important point is to discuss about the specialization plan and GS cycle are both competitors or not. And I would like to convince you that they are not competitors, they are complementary tools. How to fill the collection overview, which is the general description of the collection around an institution to have a general view of the landscape, and how to fill a discipline and subdiscipline form. 7.7, it's the update process of the data, because the idea of the specialization plan is to ask to you each year to make an update of the information, and after that an important time for question and answer. Then the specialization plan is a part of DiSSCo transition. Then I think it's important to specify this. It's a task where CETAF is the coordinator, and the technical aspect of the specialization plan were developed by the Royal Belgian Institute for a part and the African Museum for another part. The idea of the specialization plan is to provide a tool to collect information about several topics relate to the institution involved in DiSSCo. Then you have information about the institution itself, about the collection and the diversity of collection, but not only, about the research topic in the institution, the expertise at the institution level, the capacity of trainings, the museum, if there are some museum, and the permanent or temporary exhibition, and the facilities. Then this involves the equipment, the other facilities like a research vessel, and so on. The idea of the specialization plan is to collect the information using tools that people know and that they use daily or regularly. And this is the reason for which we choose to use Google Forms and Google Sheet and Excel file. Then it was a question in the beginning about then the question, do we need to use Google Forms for privacy reasons? But after discussion, the idea is that in these surveys, we are just asking information to get them public. Then it's not so important if Google is able to read them, because they will automatically read them after on the different websites. We use a combination between Google Forms and Excel file. By this way, we can use Google Forms when the question is a choice in a list or if it's a textual description. But when the information is more complex, like a matrix, we can use Excel file. And this Excel file can be downloaded from the Google form, and after the Excel copy with the update information can be uploaded using the same Google form. All this information after, which is filled at the level of the institution or at the level of a collection or a sub-collection, are gathered together and store in a central repository of the information, which is an Elasticsearch index. The advantage of the Elasticsearch index is that it's working with web services, allowing to expose all the data to external services, like, for example, DiSSCo Elvis, like the CETAF website, or also like DiSSCo. We will discuss that later. The idea in the workflow is also that if later some information about institution, scientific equipment, or collection is updated at the level of the DiSSCo Elvis interface, it will be a workflow to reuse this information and to submit this information for validation when it will be the next round for the update of information. And then by this way, we have a circle of update and reuse of the same information, avoiding multiple encoding in different platforms. When we develop then this, as we create many different forms, we create also a menu to access to the to allow the institution to access each form individually. For that, we have a specific site, and this was sent to the national note by the CETAF secretariat. Then you have link and username and password to access to a menu, and with this menu and using the login and the password, you can reach this interface where you can start. I will fill information about the institution, about collection, research, expertise, training, museum, and facilities. What we saw during because the exercise was launched in July, it's that for some institution it was more too difficult, and then we create also another way to access to the forms. It's a PDF menu where you can navigate and you can see, for example, okay, I want to fill the information at the institution level, click A. I want to fill the collection overview, click B. I want to fill information about some discipline information like anthropology or geology, and after you open or you go in the document to a specific section with the different forms. Then this is another way to access to the form, but finally the result is the same. You have the form. It is also a third way to send the form to be filled to the right person. As national note, you can also send an email, and you have just to make copy paste from the menu, the web menu, to the specific form, and you can send, for example, here to the curator of the vertebrate collection, okay, please, can you fill this information? And that's the goal and the advantage of the system. It's that when you have access to the link to the forms, you don't have to be authenticated directly in the system. Then it's a free access. But we put a restriction in the beginning to avoid to have external person filling information which are not related by our needs. What we did also, because as I explained to you, the specialization plan, it's a combination between forms and Google Sheet Excel file. We create a zip file with all the Excel file you can fill for the specialization plan. For example, on the bottom of the list, you have here a template for the collection overview, and you have also a template about the staff. Those two Excel files are related to the institution staff at the institution level, not related specifically to one collection. And the collection overview is just to show the distribution, the variability of collection in the institution, but at a broad level. Otherwise, you have the different discipline for the collection. Then you have the alga fungi plants, anthropology, astrogeology, data, ecological sample, geology, heritage science, invertebrates, microbiology, paleontology, and vertebrates. And in each folder, you have 3 files. One, which is the template to provide the information about the collection itself, one for digitization of collection, and the third one for the staff dedicated to this specific collection discipline or subdiscipline. What we have also prepared in the exercise, it's then a complete list of the institution. If your institution is not in the list, please send us an email and we will add immediately the institution in the right place, and then you will be able directly to link your forms to your institution. This is the easiest way. Concerning the institution form, then, for the institution, you have 2 forms. One which is dedicated for the administrative information about the institution, and the other, which is more specialized, is dedicated to the building surface, evaluating the surface for the exhibition, for the storage, for the office, and so on. Then you have 2 different forms, one which is institution and one institution surface. One thing which is important is that to fill the information in the Google form, you will need to provide 2 things. First, it's to have a valid Gmail account, but you can create a Gmail account for this if you don't want to use your personal one. And another one, the Gmail account allows you to upload files in the system. And the other one, it's an email you need to provide on the top of each form. And this email is important because this is the email that the system will use to send to you information for an update. Then Google will do that immediately when you will then save your information or validate your information. You will receive an email from Google. And if you use this link, you are able to re-edit your form, your survey, and to update the information if you want. We will also use this email to send to you a pre-filled form next year when we will ask you to update the information. Then next year, you will not be able to re-encode all the information. You will receive the completely filled form with the last update information, and you will be able to update or modify some information before resubmitting this information. And that's the idea, and that's the reason for which, for the email address, we ask you to use a function account or a professional account, but don't use your private email, and also for GDPR reason. If we look now on the 14th of October, for the institution, we can see that 58 institutions already filled all the information. The distribution is very variable. Some countries like Spain, then 23 institutions already filled all the information related to institution. Then in France, some other countries did not fill any institution. Then the results of the form is available in the results Google Sheet, and we will use this information, collect using specific script, all this information to feed the Elasticsearch central index. If we look now, for example, for the institution form, we can see that in the institution form we have 89 questions. And depending from the museum, sometimes, for example, the question is, do you want to fill the name of your institution in a different language? Then it's clear that for many people, for many countries, it's no. Then you do not need to fill this question. And that's the reason for which, for example, for the National Museum of Luxembourg, you have 89 questions, 62 are filled, but probably it's enough to provide all the information about this institution. Then we can see the total number of questions, the number, how many questions were totally filled, then the percentage of completion, and we have also indication if some files were uploaded. But then, for example, for Luxembourg, the logo is uploaded and the staff Excel file is uploaded. While, for example, for the Swedish Museum of Natural History, there are no upload of logo, but well, for the staff and for the Museum Aquarium of Nancy, we have the logo, but no information about the staff. Then we have the control of what it's encoded and what it's not yet encoded. Then if you want to fill this information, here are the several views for the institution. Sometimes you have a red star. Then when you have a red star, it's just to indicate that this question is mandatory. Then you need absolutely to answer to validate the complete survey. Most of the time, you do not have stars. Then it's free. It's clear that it's important for us to have the information as complete as possible. But if some fields are empty, it's not a reason to block all the process. It's just if you have a mandatory question that you will not be able to save the information. Then we have, are you member of CETAF? Are you member of DiSSCo? Are you member of another international network like, for example, JBIF or another international network? Are you a botanic garden, a museum, research institute? And you can combine the different options. Then you don't have to choose between the options, but you can combine them. Then you can have a botanic garden and a museum and a research institute and be a part of a university, for example. You have then your address, and then the request of DiSSCo is that this address should be the administrative address of the institution, not especially the address for the exhibition hall, for example, but the administrative address of the main institution. Then city, country, postcode, country, it's classical question. And then sometime you will have the possibility to provide this information as a matrix, then an Excel file. Then usually you will have a link to then download the template, but you can also use the template provided in the zip file. You have to edit this file offline, and when the file is complete, you can add this file using the form. And that's for this reason, it's sometimes more convenient to use the Excel file from the zip file. Then you can first complete offline. And when you are filling the information in the form, you can directly link the file and upload on the system. I will show you, for example, here, I will click. Normally, oh wait. Yes, then here I click, I open then the Excel file to show you how to do. Then you have first, this is for the staff of the institution. First, you have to describe the uncertainty level of your information. Then if it's an exact value, if you think that it's a good estimation, an approximation. And then you have to fill the information for scientific research position, postdoc, scientific staff, linked to collection, for example, conservator, curator, collection manager, and so on, scientific staff other associated to the institution, research technician, collection manager, then which are technicians totally devoted to the collection management, exhibition staff, administrative, IT, then informatic department, technical services, volunteers. And for all, you need to provide information for permanent position, non-permanent position, for the total number of persons and the full-time equivalent. And what we ask also, because it's one of the requests of any European project also, it's to see how we can fit with the requirement of gender balance. It's to provide the information of the distribution of position between women and men, and we add also non-binary, as this possibility exists also. Then this is an example for the staff of the institution. I will continue. After that, when you fill all the information in the form and in the Excel file, you can define, okay, this information is a draft version of my information, or it's complete. When it's complete, then you can consider that for this round, the information is definitive. You don't need to reaccess to the information to complete them or to modify it, and you submit this information. At this time, the information from the form and from the sheets are aggregated in the Elasticsearch index. Concerning the collection forms, then you know probably that during the last decade it was several initiatives in order to describe the diversity of collection in the different natural history institutions around the world. Then you have the One World Collection exercise led by the Smithsonian, first with the main or the major scientific collection in the world, but with also information related to, I think it was more than 200 collection at the international level, with the possibility to see the distribution of the collection, to see how the collection are managed by different category of staff, and so on. Then this is the first initiative which was published in Science last year. You have also an important exercise which was in the Synthesis Plus project. Then it's the task 2.2, collection dashboard survey, led by CETAF, and all the work was managed by Laura, with the idea to collect, then to continue the exercise of One World Collection, but to obtain information about different categories of discipline and subdiscipline, and to obtain information about geographic distribution, stratigraphy, how the collection are stored in the storage place, what's the percentage of the collection which are already digitized, and with which level of information. Then all this information was collected, but in a set, I think it was about 10 or 12 institutions. This led to the publication of a paper in Rio. And the idea was also to reuse all this information to build a digitization dashboard, which was developed by the Natural History Museum London, and which is now used by some communities to provide information about the collection and the digitization of collection. They have this for the UK institution, but you have also this for the member of DiSSCo Flanders in Belgium. Then you have the collection overview from the specialization plan we will discuss now. And since the beginning of then July, we have now 25 institutions which fill the information at the level of the collection overview. And then you can see also below a table which summarizes all the information which was already filled at the level of discipline and subdiscipline. Another place to put information about collection indeed is the DiSSCo site. Then also an important point is that in JBIF, normally you can obtain information, but mainly about digitized specimen. The role of the specialization plan and the role also of DiSSCo is to be able to provide information about collections which are not yet digitized, as at the world level, we know that only 10% of the collection in natural science are already digitized and available through a digital access. Then the consequence of that is that 90% is in the dark zone. And the idea of the specialization plan is to provide information about this dark zone. As I told you, the collection digitization dashboard developed by then NHM on the base of the work of Laura during Synthesis Plus is no use, for example, here by the member of DiSSCo Flanders community. And then, for example, here you have 4 million. It's the number of the herbaceous sheets at the Botanic Garden Maze, and they evaluate that the total number of the collection in the Flemish partners, it's 6 million of specimens. Then now I would like to provide some information about a very important point for me. Is the specialization plan the competitor of DiSSCo? And in my point of view, clearly it's no, because we are not at the same level. The idea of the specialization plan is to collect information through a user-friendly interface. And this is not yet available in DiSSCo, maybe in a few years, but today there are no clear, easy interface to provide all the information about undigitized collection in DiSSCo. The information collected through Google Form and Excel file is in the Elasticsearch repository, and this is available to the external services, including DiSSCo. Then all the information filled through the specialization plan will be exposed to DiSSCo using Latinaccord. Then we are an entry interface, and all the information can be reused. It's clear that we will also use the API of DiSSCo to collect information in DiSSCo. But even if this information is available in DiSSCo, this is not the reason for which it's easily usable in the specialization plan. And why? You can see here you have Natural History Museum London. Today, the description of the collection in NHM, it's one collection, 80 million of specimens, and absolutely no information about the hierarchy of collection. Then it's only one collection, herbarium, and the other collections are not exposed in DiSSCo. If you look for Naturalis Biodiversity Center, then 42 million of specimens, and you have already about 9 million available directly at the level of the specimen, but then more than 33 million unavailable through the JBIF specimen information. And here you have information about many different collections. But you can see, for example, you have Amphipoda, Isopoda, Ostracoda collection, and this is very interesting information, but does not fit the hierarchy of discipline and subdisciplines proposed by DiSSCo and the specialization plan. Then again, it's complex to rebuild an information which can be compared to the other information filled by the specialization plan. Third example, Musée National d'Histoire Naturelle in Paris. Then here you have 68 million of specimens, 8 million available using JBIF. And you have a hierarchy of collection which is mostly similar to the collection we use to the hierarchy we are using for the specialization plan. Then, but here we have, for example, fossil collection. Then it's not divided. You have a lot of different subdiscipline in the collection. You have the mollusk, you have reptiles and amphibians together, while in our hierarchy it's divided between both groups. You have Hemiptera collection, Hymenoptera collection, Diptera collection, which is very important for the entomology collection. But here, for example, in the specialization plan, it's just one category. It's entomology in the invertebrate group. Then it's not totally fitting our hierarchy. And the last example, it's Royal Belgian Institute. And here we decide that the collection exposed in JBIF, the organization of the collection in JBIF and in DiSSCo fit exactly with the hierarchy proposed by DiSSCo. And then you have insect with invertebrate insect, you have mollusk, invertebrate mollusk, you have paleontology, which can be divided in several sub-disciplines, you have anthropology with biological anthropology, and so on. Then, even if DiSSCo is using Latimer core, which is fine and a good way for standardization of information of collection, if the hierarchy of the collection is not the same, we cannot really compare and reuse directly the information. While if we put the information first in specialization plan, we will automatically expose this information in DiSSCo and with the correct hierarchy allowing to prepare the specialization plan. Then the discipline forms, you can see we defined in DiSSCo different disciplines. You have anthropology, you have algae, fungi, plant, you have macrobiology, paleontology, invertebrate, and so on. Then what's happened? You have one institution, you have 11 disciplines, and you have 66 subdisciplines. This is the hierarchy of discipline and subdiscipline, and this is the level of detail we would like to reach with the specialization plan related to collection. Then we understand it's a lot of work, but if we want to be able to compare and to accumulate, aggregate together the information coming from the different DiSSCo members, I think it's one of the only way to reach this goal. Then you have the general description of the collection. It's the collection overview with simple information. And the idea is first in this to provide, using the form, information about the main groups, then the main discipline and subdiscipline, and you have just to click, we have, we do not have, we have, we do not have, and so on. That's the information at the level of the form. Then it's the right side of this slide. To identify the institution and to link all these forms to the same institution, we are using the ROR ID. This is the main key to recognize then the institution. After that, you have the list of institutions, and then it's a list which all the DiSSCo members institution. If your institution is not in this list, send us an email, we will update immediately the list. You have then also a request for a contact email address. If it's available in your institution, please use a generic name like collection at Natural Science, not a personal name. And if you have, for example, a head of collection, you can just provide the ORCID ID of the head of collection without any other personal information. We will reuse the information from the ORCID database to fill the information related to people. Then that's the way. And then here you have 11 disciplines, 66 subdisciplines, and then you can choose here for the for institute, Royal Belgian Institute of Natural Science. I have no collection for algae, fungi, plant. I have invertebrate for insect, arachnid, crustacea. I have also the other groups, but that's an example. For vertebrates, I have fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals. I have also paleontology with plant and fungi, invertebrates, vertebrates. I have collection for anthropology, then no main collection for anthropology, but I have also another category. I have no collection of geology and so on. And you describe that's the landscape of the collection in your institution. You have also the possibility to provide statistics, but at the general scale of the collection, then using the one world collection indicator, then from 1 to 8, if your collection is bigger than or between 0 and 10, 12 and 100 until more than 10 million. You can provide the exact number of object specimen you have and define again the level of uncertainty. What is important then is that you will be able to fill a table here. Then you have the possibility clicking to the link here to upload an Excel file. You then put the information in the Excel file offline, and you upload this information in the system using the add file link, which is in the form. And then if I click here, I open this, and then I have a table. I have just to put for the different main discipline the number or the estimation of the number of objects, the uncertainty level, and also how many type specimen do you have or you estimate you have in this collection. Exactly the same uncertainty level. That's the broader description of the collection. You have indeed the possibility to define more detailed information at the level of the discipline or the subdiscipline. Then for the discipline, I will take here anthropology. I am an anthropologist and I know better this information. I will have for each discipline then two forms, one related to the collection itself and another one related to the digitization of the collection, because the digitization strategy, the digitization equipment are not the same from one collection to another one. Then you have to specify this. And sometimes from one collection to another one, you are not using the same collection management system. You can specify this too. Then for anthropology, okay, I will put the information for anthropology, the same that previously. Then you have to define the row ID of the parent institution, specifying the list. And here you have the possibility to link directly this collection to a collection which is already encoded in DiSSCo, or to several collections if you have this. Then if you have collection in DiSSCo which are associated, we can go to DiSSCo and reuse the information already encoded in DiSSCo. But it's clear that for us, it's really much easier if you fill the information in these forms. You have the contact email for the collection and also information about the status of the collection. Is it a public collection, a private, that's managed by an institution, or sometime, because this is also one of the goals of DiSSCo, is to provide information about private collection, but managed by a private person. You have information about the legal property of the collection, and you have to provide information about the main staff member who is managing the collection. Then is it conservator, a curator, a collection manager, preparator, and so on. For this collection, you have also the possibility to define the complete list of staff who is managing the collection. Then if I click here, you have here for anthropological staff, and I can define, okay, this person will work for the main collection of anthropology, for the subdiscipline biological anthropology, for archaeology, for genetic resources, or for other categories. And you can provide information about the ORCID ID, specify the role of the person, and the status, if it's a permanent, long contract, short, or volunteers. And also percentage of the work relate to collection, relate to research, or to other activities. That's the ID. This table, then the staff relate to collection. The link is provided in each form relate to a discipline or a subdiscipline, but it's clear that you can just fill the information in the document relate to the discipline form, because the other is just, for example, because the discipline is divided in different subdisciplines, and that you will send to the different curators of the subdiscipline to fill the information. Then they are able to fill for their subdiscipline. But you can totally fill the information at the level of the discipline document. Again, you can provide information, general information about the size, the number of objects, which kind of unit are you using to count your collection. Again, the one word collection, and you can provide information about, for example, the geographic coverage of the distribution of the sampling location of the collection. And you have also an important document, which is the statistic file, which is mainly based on the Excel file developed by Laura during the Synthesis Plus project. And you can provide information, for example, for geography, about the geographic zone on Earth, in the ocean, the countries represented in your collection. Again, it's the same document for the discipline and the subdiscipline. Then here we can see anthropology, biological anthropology, archaeology, other like ethnography, for example. Then you can provide all this information. You have also the information when it's relevant about the stratigraphy. Then here for the anthropology, it's limited to quaternary period. But if you are working with paleontological collection, you have the complete list, and the list is coming from the reference of stratigraphic.org and the chart, and we reduce this division. You have also table to provide information about the storage of the collection, the sample treatment, and the preparation of the sample. Then you can specify how many samples you have as microscopic slides, cryopreserved sample, preserved in alcohol, in dry condition, is it assembled or not assembled, and so on, and so on, and so on. Then by this way, you can provide very detailed information about each discipline and subdiscipline. You have also a question about valorization of this collection. Then if you want, for example, to provide information for the citation in publication, which kind of license can be used, if it's CC0, CC by non-commercial, non-derivative. For example, here at Royal Belgian Institute, we promote CC0 for metadata, CC by for all the individual information for non-type specimen, and CC by non-derivative for type specimen, as we consider that this information we need to provide to attest that this information is the real one, relate to reality, and not a fake information. That's the reason for which we ask non-derivative for type specimen. We have to provide information about who is the license holder, You can provide information about, for example, a list of publications describing the collection or using this collection, and you can provide additional information. And again, all this information is aggregated together to provide the information at the DiSSCo level for the specialization exercise. And finally, you have the collection discipline digitization form. Again, it's then a form requesting information about how do we digitize the collection. First, for example, which kind of collection management are we using? Do we have an access directly to this collection management system through the web? Do you export your information in JBIF? If yes, what's the dataset of the export dataset? Do you export the information to GeoCase? And again, with the ID. And after that, you have some question about which kind of data and metadata are you collecting during the digitization process? Are you, for example, using a persistent identifier? Do you have also information about the storage, about then the institution, the taxon, and also you have information about who collects the specimen. If you have a specific unique identifier, you can provide this, and so on. Then just to see which kind of information you are collecting during the digitization process of the specimen. Most of the time, it's the information available on the labels. You have also a section related to the direct imaging of the specimen. Then are you making pictures of specimen and labels, or specimen labels on another picture, detailed view of the specimen? Are you just digitizing the tray of the box, and so on? And also a question about the technique you are using for digitization. Are you just making a single picture? Are you using picture with microscopy and sometimes with photo stacking? Are you using a scanning electronic microscope, and so on? Are you making a 3D model of the specimen using surface scanner, using photogrammetry? Are you making micro CT, and so on? Then you have many different options. And this is just to know. And after that, we will be able to see if there are some specificity or if there are some more adequate techniques for some specific group or collection, and to share this together. You have also indeed a table, which is quite simple. Then you have mainly which kind of collection are you digitizing at the level of the container or at the level of the specimen? Are you making photo stacking? Are you making multispectral or multiband digitization? And for 3D, are you doing photogrammetry, surface scanning, CT, micro CT, and so on? If you have information, you provide. If you do not have, leave empty. You have also some reference to the MITS value. Then MITS value are then standard definition of the level of completion of digitization of the specimen. Then for that, I invite you to follow the definition. The definition are here described, but I know that there are still some discussion about what's the real meaning of each MIT level. Then I think during this first round, it's not the priority to fill the MITS information, but it's clear that later in the next year, we will ask you more information about the MITS level of the collection. And again, this information is sent to the Elasticsearch and aggregate together. Then for the update of this information, because it's clear that the goal is not to ask to you to fill the complete information each year. Then, as I told you, This year it's important because we need to provide the initial information in the system. The information will be stored in Elasticsearch combined with a PostgreSQL database, but then that's the central brain of the specialization plan. This system is able to generate pre-filled form, and this pre-filled form will be sent to you next year to update the information. This is the first circle of information. What is important is that the Elasticsearch index will be able to expose the information to external services like DiSSCo Elvis and DiSSCo for DiSSCo using Latina Core, but also to reuse information coming from this system. But before to reuse it directly in Elasticsearch in the centralized information of the system, we need to have a validation because, for example, in DiSSCo Elvis, this updated information can be provided by annotation made on collection level, but not especially by members of your institution. That could be just people who connected to Elvis and who want to add an information about a specific collection. This is the reason for which people who will update information in the DiSSCo Elvis platform will be authentified by ORCID ID. This information will be integrated in the Elasticsearch and proposed for update of information in the update process. And we can imagine a similar behavior with DiSSCo. Then this is the main explanation of what is the specialization plan. We will, in the next months, also ask to you, as you saw in the beginning, information about other topics. Then, for example, the research topic in your institution, your research strategy, the exhibition you have, permanent exhibition, because it's related to collection, but also temporary exhibition, tour exhibition, because could be the way to identify partners for collaboration for temporary exhibition and to develop together this. You have information about the capacity training of the institution, then to be able to organize some trainings between the different institutions. Then it's really a broad topic, but with a unified tool. And that's, I think, important to say. And now I am pleased to try to answer to your question.
Yes, can we talk?
Yes, Laurent.
Yes. I have just two little questions. What is the email to at University of Liège on the list?
On the list?
I didn't see my institution inside.
In the University of Liège?
Yes. I saw Mons and others.
In the list of proposed institutions, yes, Liège is in the list.
Yes, ULG, it's inside of the list. Okay.
Yes, normally. I can check. We can see. Wait. Okay. We can see that directly. Google. Then. New CETAF DiSSCo. Then institution. No, you are not, because okay, it's a mistake. Yes, sure. It's because at this time when I start to prepare, Liège did not sign the MOU, I think. But yes, but no, it's done.
Yes, it's done. It's done.
Yes, then I will send me just then here it's the stable link for the institution, but send me the information, and normally I will complete it.
Okay, to your email address.
Yes.
Okay.
Or to, no, please send to info@CETAF.
Okay.
And then info@CETAF will redirect the information for my side.
And my second question, donc, okay, donc if I we create the form with University of Liège, each we have to work all together to put the different part of the institution, like anthropology, botanic.
But for the form institution, it's clear you have to fill this one. It's at the level of the university.
Yes, and
But for the different discipline, no. You can just fill the information for the algae fungi collection,
okay.
algae fungi plant collection. You can ask to people to fill the information for paleontology, and you can ask to other to fill the information for hexapoda and entomology collection.
Okay.
That's the idea, is that it's not one person who has to make all the work, because
Okay.
that's too
It was
huge.
my question. Yes.
No, you have just, if you are the point person of contact for the University of Liège, you have just to send the link for the specific forms to the curators of the. Then for paleontology, you have to send to Valentin Fischer. Then the hexapoda, you have to send to Grégoire, and so on.
Okay. Thank you.
And if you need some help, I am there.
Okay. Thanks.
We can see any other questions, but people can ask general questions.
And if you have some, for example, when all the Spanish institution made the exercise, if they found some mistakes, because it's a so huge system that it was some mistakes, but you sent me an email and I correct the forms if there are some mistakes, then it is one of the advantage of the system. There are some disadvantage, but one of the advantage is that it's very reactive. If you have a position, we can update easily all the system without modifying all the data model of the database.
So Boyko has his hand raised.
Yes. Will be the record of this meeting available for us? It was too much information for a rather short time, and I would be happy to look at the record later.
Yes, so we're recording it and it will be passed around, yes.
Okay, thanks.
But again, do not hesitate to contact us if you have any problem. We are there to. I have a lot other things to do, but it's sure that I will do my best to help you.
Okay, I don't see any more questions.
Then I thank you for your participation, and then I hope to see the number of new institutions growing next week and in the week after.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for the comprehensive presentation. Thank you very much.
Then bye-bye.